Hey everyone, quick look at this. See that? Almost 98% of you watching aren't subscribed yet. Subscribing is the best way to not miss any new infidelity stories and support what we do here. It's free and it makes a huge difference. Hit that subscribe button below. Okay, now to today's story.
It's like, when you lose something really important? Like your favorite toy? Or maybe your dog runs away? That's how it felt when Benson left. He just left. 3 years ago. That's a long time, like longer than I've been in fifth grade. After he went, the house got real quiet. Too quiet. It was our house, me and Benson's. We lived there for a long, long time. But then it was just me. And all the stuff. Our stuff. At first, it was okay. Kinda. I mean, it was sad, but I was still busy, Doing things, going to the store, watching TV, making dinner just for me. I made chicken a lot because Benson didn't really like chicken that much, but I did, so I ate chicken. By myself. At the big table in the dining room. It felt weird, like I was at a restaurant, but the restaurant was my house and I was the only customer. I made a rule. Rules are good, right? My teacher says rules are important. My rule was, every day, I do the same thing. Wake up, drink coffee, read the paper, even if the paper is kind of boring. Then I'd do some cleaning. Dust the shelves, water the plants. Plants are good company because they don't talk back. And they don't leave you. Unless they die, but I tried to water them good so they wouldn't die. Then lunch. Then maybe a walk around the block if it wasn't too hot or too cold. Then more TV, then dinner, then bed. Same thing every day. Like a robot. Beep, boop, beep. The house was clean. Real clean. Cleaner than it was when Benson was here, maybe. He wasn't messy, but he didn't really care about dusting. I dusted everything. Every day. It made me feel like I was doing something, even if it wasn't really important. Just dust. But it was my dust. In my clean house. All by myself. People said, "Martha, you gotta get out more." Like I was a dog that needed walking. My friend Susan, she said that a lot. You gotta join a club or go dancing, meet new people. But I didn't want to. Going out seemed like too much work. And new people? I had Benson for a long time. He was enough people for me. Now he wasn't here, and I didn't need more people. I just needed quiet and chicken. Sometimes at night it got real bad. The quiet, I mean. It wasn't just quiet, it was like empty quiet. Like the quiet was hollow. Like when you hit a drum but there's no sound, just emptiness. That's how the house felt. And me too, inside. Empty. Even when I was doing my rules, my cleaning and eating chicken, I was still empty. Like a balloon that lost all its air. Just floppy and sad. I tried to read books. Big books. With lots of words. I thought if I read a lot, it would fill up the quiet in my head. But it didn't really work. The words were just words. They didn't talk to me. They didn't make me feel anything much. Just words on a page. Like dust on a shelf, just there. Not helping. 3 years. That's a long time to be empty. Long time to just eat chicken and dust and watch TV and be quiet. Too quiet. I started to think maybe I would just be quiet forever. Just be Martha in the quiet house, eating chicken and dusting dust. That's all. That's what my life was now. Just quiet dust and chicken, and empty. Real empty. Like nobody was home. Even when I was right there, sitting in the quiet. The piano was also quiet. Not just the house. We had a big piano in the living room that Benson had bought for my birthday years back. I would play it a lot as a child and enjoyed playing tunes. Happy songs, sad songs, all kinds of songs made me feel something. Not empty. Playing the piano replaced silence with music. Good quiet is musical, bad quiet is empty. Yet lately, the piano just stood in the corner. Quiet. The piano gathered more dust than the shelves. It was too big for everyday dusting. It grew dusty and silent, as though melancholy. A melancholy piano in a melancholy house. A melancholy woman eating chicken. A gloomy picture. I played for Benson, and he enjoyed it. He'd come and sit and listen, saying I played nicely, even if I was just okay. Him being happy made me happy, too. That was a good feeling. A not empty feeling. Benson was away. I did not feel like playing. What was the use? Nobody to play for. Me and the empty house. Playing for dust was not satisfying. It was not fun, just a silent, dusty, sad piano. Susan asked, "Martha, you used to love playing the piano. Why not anymore?" She remembers everything. I said, "I don't know, Susan. Just not in the mood." She suggested, "You should take lessons. It would be fun. You'd get to meet new people. Piano lessons? For an old woman? Absurd. But maybe it would be different. Something not quiet. Not empty." Piano? I considered piano lessons. They seemed daunting but exhilarating. A roller coaster. You're afraid but still eager to try it out. An old lady's piano lesson roller coaster. Preposterous? Perhaps. But maybe not. I went online as Susan recommended and typed in piano lessons. I found plenty. Instructors, schools, videos. Too much. It was confusing, but one stood out. "Thanks for visiting Lewis's piano studio," it read, with an image of a piano and a guy sitting in front of the piano, smiling. Young guy, young face, smiling face. Lewis. Lewis, the piano instructor. I had opened the site. It read, "Piano lessons for all ages and levels. Fun and friendly learning environment." Fun piano. Lessons might do for an old lady living a quiet life, I thought. I looked at Lewis's picture again, smiling at the piano. He seemed nice and pretty young, like he had learned to play the day before. But the website said he was a good, fun, and friendly teacher. Maybe. I called the number on the website. A guy answered. His voice sounded young, too. I said, hello? Are you Lewis?" He said, "Yes, speaking." Voice sounded extra happy. Like he was happy just to answer the phone. Happy voice, smiling face, young hand, young face, smiling voice. Lewis, piano teacher Lewis. I stated, I went to your site for piano lessons." He said, "Oh, great. You want lessons?" "Yeah, I think so. Maybe. I don't know. Too intimidating, too silly. But maybe something different?" "Maybe," I said. "Maybe I am." The piano in the living room was quiet, but maybe not for much longer. Piano sounds instead of silence. Something new. Something different. Something not bare, not empty. Just different. That was something. Not chicken, not dust, just different. Perhaps good different. I didn't know. But it was different, and that counted. Something new, not quiet, not empty. Just different. The quiet piano in the living room? Still quiet. But maybe, just maybe, it won't be quiet for much longer. Maybe. Just maybe. "Hello," he said, still smiling. "I'm Lewis from Lewis's piano studio." He extended his hand to shake as if I were a VIP. I shook it. His hand was firm and warm, not soft and old like Benson's. Lewis's hand was young hand, smiling face. It was a lot of youngness all at once, for my quiet house and my quiet piano. "Hi, Lewis," I rasped, my voice parched. I hadn't been talking much, just to the television or plants. "Piano lessons?" he exclaimed, laughing as if they were the best thing in the world. I nodded. Right in the living room, come along. I led him in there. The big dark piano simply stood silently waiting. He looked at the piano, not reacting or laughing, just glad it was there. He placed his bag of music on the ground with a small thump. Another audible sound. Good. He opened his music bag and pulled out new, shiny piano books, unlike my dusty old ones. They were teacher books. He glanced at the piano, lifted the lid, and brushed his fingers across the keys as I just stood there, unsure of anything else to do. I could hear the rustling of his books and his humming, a cheerful melody. He was content to be in my home by my piano, instructing me, humming, smiling, with a young hand and face. It was much. For my quiet house, for my quiet piano. So, he said, still humming, have you ever played piano? He didn't look my way, his eyes on the keys, but he was addressing me, not the TV, not the plants. Me. Oh, long time ago, I answered. When I was a kid, but I shrugged. I'm not good anymore. I think I forgot everything. He chuckled. No one forgets everything, he said. It's like riding a bike. You may falter at first, but you know how. He smiled at me once more. That smile was still pleasant and surprising. What do you do? He said, still looking at the piano but speaking to me. Besides playing piano years ago, I mean. He laughed again. I replied. Nothing much. I'm retired. Silly, as though I were ancient. Guess I am. Older than him anyway. A lot older. Retired from what? He inquired, genuinely curious about my mundane retired life. It was strange, but nice that somebody was interested in getting to know me, Martha. Not just the introverted piano. Lady? I was a librarian, I said to her, at the downtown library. I hadn't said it in years. Librarian seemed like an old-fashioned word, referring to some other person, not me. Wow, he exclaimed. A librarian? That's cool. You must do a lot of reading. He looked at me again with inquiring eyes. I did, I said. Not now. Since Benson was gone, the books were just words on a page, dust on a shelf. What type of music do you enjoy? He asked, genuinely interested in finding out. It was a change. More than the silence, emptiness, dust, and chicken. Just more. Good different. Maybe I began discussing music with him. I told him about my favorite music, about melodies and songs and singers and sounds. I spoke and spoke. And he listened. He really listened. He asked more questions. He chucked sometimes. He smiled a lot. And all the while, he was preparing the piano. His little hands fluttered over the keys, clinking and humming a tune. I was actually talking for the first time in years, talking about music, songs, and simply me, Martha. The retired librarian loved books, music, and playing the piano, and chicken, and dusting, but perhaps not so quiet anymore. Something more than dust, chicken, and quiet, perhaps. Just perhaps. The quiet piano in the corner remained unremarked. There were other noises of chatter, humming, and perhaps connection in the room, connection with a young piano teacher. Louis taught piano, smiled, listened, and asked questions about music. He was not just fixing my playing. Perhaps he was fixing something in me, something still and empty. Perhaps, we would see. He began teaching me at my piano, showing me notes, keys, and concepts of music. It was perplexing in the beginning, but he was patient. Patient tutor Louis showed me over and over again. He would smile when I got something right, even if it was minimal. The smile was always unexpected, nice, and special. He played a simple little tune for me. Just a few notes, but it was sounding pretty good. Happy piano sounds echoed through my vacant home. That's a first. He packed up his music, books, and returned them to his bag. He was still humming that little melody. I was humming it too, unconsciously. Me, humming a piano tune. That's unusual. All right, he said. Lesson done. You were great, Martha. He smiled, nice and surprising as ever, yet different. He said my name again. Martha. It sounded nice coming from his youthful voice. Thanks. Louis, I told him. You're a lifesaver. That's what Susan says when helped. Maybe he saved me from the quiet piano and more. Maybe from the empty too. He mentioned the cost of the lesson. It did not cost as much as I had imagined. Piano lessons were costly, Susan said, but Louis was affordable. I paid him by check, old lady style, but that's all right. I'm an old lady after all. Older than he was, anyway. Way older. He handed the check back and said, "Thank you, Martha." He said my name again. Martha. It was pleasant coming from his youthful voice. See you next week? He questioned. Another lesson? Perhaps next week would be fine. Perhaps something else again. He headed for the door, and I followed. I didn't know why, just had to see him go, to see him smile once more. Perhaps. He turned in the doorway. Well, he said. Goodbye, Martha. Big smile. Nice meeting you. And he winked. An old woman winked, unexpected and fluttery, like butterflies, in my stomach. Butterflies? At my age? Ridiculous, right? I think there were maybe butterflies, just a slight flutter. He left, closing the door. Then it was quiet. Real quiet. No piano sounds, just different quiet this time. Not empty or sad, just quiet. With a soft humming, my humming, Louis's song, still in my mind. A funny fluttering in my stomach, maybe butterflies, and an actual smile on my face, not a courtesy one. I returned to the living room. The piano was different, quiet but more radiant, more alive. The chairs, rug, and walls all seemed to be smiling, too. Or maybe I was smiling and everything seemed happy. I don't know. Everything was different after Louis arrived. Good different, maybe. I went into my room and flung open the closet to examine my old lady clothes. Comfy pants, sweaters, and sensible shoes. They were old lady dresses for an old lady in a quiet home, with chicken and dusting. A quiet piano. Life, an old lady life. I had spotted it in the back closet, hidden under sweaters and comfortable pants. A gorgeous silk dress. A dress I hadn't worn in years, maybe not since the time Benson had left. Blue silk. It was my color. Benson liked it and said I looked nice in blue. That had been many years ago. Lovely, Martha. Long time ago. Enjoying the story? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new infidelity. Story. Now, let's continue. I took the dress out of the closet. It was silky and soft, like hope. I stood it against myself, in front of the mirror. Me, in the blue silk dress. Old woman Martha in silk. Preposterous? Possibly. But perhaps it was not preposterous after all. Perhaps it was brave. Brave silk. Hope silk. Silk. Possibly. I decided, there and then, in the bedroom, with the blue silk dress in my hand. I was going to wear it, just for myself, because I wanted to. I might have been more than an old lady eating chicken and dusting. I might have been Martha in a silk dress, butterflies and a humming tune in my mind. Martha. Perhaps with hope. Silk dress hope. We would see. I got into the silk dress. It felt odd. Loose here. Tight there. I had changed shape since I last wore it, but it still looked good. The dress, at least. And maybe me too, a bit, in the blue silk. Maybe. A bit too pretty for an old lady in a silk dress. Playing piano? Or sipping tea? Perhaps both. I looked in the mirror. Me. Silk dress. Humming. Butterflies. Smile. Not empty. Not quiet. Martha in a silk dress, waiting for something. I did not know what, but it was something different from dust, chicken, and soft piano. Maybe it was piano songs? Silk dress piano songs? I went and got tea ready in the kitchen. Tea in my china cup, the one from when Benson's family came to visit. Fancy cups for fancy tea. Today wasn't fancy, just me in a silk dress, drinking tea out of a good cup. Silly? Maybe. But it felt nice. Good silly. Good different. Silk dress tea. From a china cup is a new one for Martha. A new good thing. I was sitting at the kitchen table with my delicate teacup in my silk nightgown, humming and smiling at the greener, more vibrant trees outside the window. Were they smiling as well? Maybe. Perhaps it was just me, smiling and making everything appear happy. I don't know, but it felt good, just good. Being Martha in a silk dress, sipping fancy tea, gazing at smiling trees, humming, butterflies. Not empty, just full. Full of something new and good, something hopeful. Maybe. Silk dress tea hope. I heard it again. Knock, knock, knock on the door. Who? Susan? She doesn't knock. Benson? No, he isn't coming back. So, who? Piano teacher? Maybe too soon for the next lesson, but maybe? My heart started beating a bit faster again. Butterflies fluttered around more. Humming became louder in my mind. Smile spread wider on my face. Knock, knock, knock. Again. I rose from the table in my silk dress and slowly walked to the door, like in a movie. Opening the door. To whom? To what? Something? Perhaps a piano lesson? Too early? Pastries? Why pastries? Piano teacher's pastries? Ridiculous? Perhaps exciting? I opened the door and there was Louis, smiling with a box of piano teacher pastries from the bakery. For me? Why? Piano teacher pastries? Absurd, but pleasant absurd. Promising absurd. Maybe. Hi, Martha, he said, smiling so widely. I was in the neighborhood and figured I'd stop by with some pastries. He held out the box. Louis at my door with pastries. Just because. Martha wearing silk. Pastries. Smiling Louis on my door. For no reason at all. What? Hopeful pastries? Butterflies? Silk dress? Something good, something different. Something more, perhaps. I took the pastry box. Pastries? I asked, my voice a breathy one. Not from labor, but excitement. Butterflies. Breathe. Silk dress breathing? Piano lesson breathing? Maybe. Pastries breathing? Definitely. Yeah, he said. I didn't know what you liked, so I got an assortment. Croissants, danishes, and some other things. He laughed. A nice piano teacher laugh. I appreciated that laugh. That's very nice, Louis, I said. Thank you. Very nice wasn't large enough for pastries, smiles, and Louis on my doorstep in my silk dress. But it was all I had. Too little. For deep feelings. Too low for loud butterflies. Too old lady words for silk dress hope. But it's what I said. Very nice. May I come in for a moment? He said. Just to see how your piano playing is progressing since your lesson? He glanced into the living room. Behind me, his expression was one of concern for my piano playing. But I fantasized it was more, perhaps pastries, a silk gown, or smiling Louis. Hopeful piano? Sure, I said. Come in. He came into my serene living room. It was different now. Good different. Possibly. We could witness pastries, tea, smiles, butterflies, silk gowns, and piano music. Possibly something more connection. Louis and Martha with pastries and tea in the living room. Quiet piano waits. Perhaps the beginning of something new. Hopeful. Silk dress hope. Pastries hope. Smiling Lewis hope. Piano music hope. We would wait and see, smile, hum, and be different. Good different. Maybe. Piano, pastries, smiles, and silk. Maybe. Thank you for listening. Do you like these infidelity stories? Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new cheating wife stories.